All right, folks, welcome to another episode of America's Hometown Horror, and I say good evening to you. We have another jam-packed episode tonight, so why don't we jump right the fuck in and get our housekeeping stuff out of the way. First of which is where you can find us online if you're so interested. First is our website, which is ahpod.com. That's AHHPOD.com. Head on over to our website, which was designed by our lovely co-host, Catherine. You can find out more about the show. You can read our blog. You can listen to the show right in the website. But you can also find us on all of our other socials, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for America's Hometown Horror, and you will find us. And you can also email us at hometownhorrorpodcast@gmail.com if you feel so inclined. And I have to mention our two sponsors, as we have each and every week. First of which is Horror Facts Magazine. You can find them at horrorfacts.com. Great resource if you are a fan of horror for all kinds of news, reviews, editorials, and other horror podcasts, but ours as well. And then also we're partnering, we're an affiliate, I should say now, of Fangoria, the first name in fright since 1979. Head on over to shop.fangoria.com/hometownhorrorpod or use the code hometownhorrorpod at checkout for an exclusive 20% discount on any Fangoria merchandise, including a first-time magazine subscription or any of their clothing items. Head on over to Fangoria and get yourself a 20% discount courtesy of America's Hometown Horror for the new year. Get yourself some nice threads from Fangoria and treat yourself. Gentlemen, Matt and Andrew, my co-hosts. Kat is off tonight. Guys, what's going on? Good evening.
Hello.
What's up, dude?
How's it going?
I'm
doing good.
Fantastic.
Doing good.
Right in the thick of found footage February.
I know, right in the thick of found footage February. It's week 3 of found footage February, and yeah, I'm feeling good now
week
that
three already.
Now that I have the dog taken care of, because we covered the Outwaters last week, Andrew. Remember? And yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you guys did?
Yes.
When did you record that?
The other day.
Oh,
so
okay.
that'll be out this week, and then next week. Next week, this episode will be out. Yeah,
that's
okay.
why I was like, wait a minute.
Timeline doesn't necessarily matter, but that's okay.
Yeah, like it's 11th.
So,
8th.
yeah, so obviously if you're listening to this episode, hopefully you listened to last week's episode. Hopefully you got a chance to see The Outwaters, as Matt and I recommended last week on the show. A really fun movie, especially if you can see it in theaters. We both enjoyed it a lot.
Good,
and
clean, family fun.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's probably going to be, the theater showings are going to be sparse, few and far between. But if you can see it, as we said on last week's episode, can't recommend enough that you actually go out and see it. But yeah, go back and listen to the episode if you are so inclined.
Should be on Screenbox very soon.
Yeah, should also be on Screenbox very soon.
If you don't have Screenbox, what are you doing?
Yeah, you can get it through Amazon
It's like
Prime.
$4 a month.
I gotta get. I'm gonna wait once that comes on.
Terrifier 2's on.
Yeah,
Sick.
yeah. So we've had a lot of awesome horror releases so far the first couple weeks of the year, over the last couple of months, and the next one that's coming up, which I think we're probably going to do an episode on within the next couple of weeks. Not necessarily found footage, but I feel like we're all going to see it, so we should definitely do an episode on it. Is Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which comes out, and I know is exclusively in theaters in Kingston, Mass., at least if you're listening to us locally, on February 15th, so you can go see it then. I know all 4 of us will be in attendance because Kat and I did get a babysitter.
I might
so,
have to bail.
Oh, really?
I might not make it. We'll see.
No.
Depends. What time does it start?
I think it's 7 o'clock.
All right, I might be able to do that. Sarah's
Okay.
got a haircut at 4.
Okay, fair enough. Nice. Well, I know at least Kat and I will be available for that to go see it, and I think Andrew, you probably will too.
Yes.
Absolutely. And who knows? Maybe Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey will be a winner. I guess we'll see.
Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh. Apparently, it's already been. You told me this, Andrew. It's already been green-lit for a sequel. If I can only speak.
And then he's also making another movie. It's going to be like they already mentioned that Bambi's going to be.
My God, man!
And they mentioned too that like the monsters, Bambi's going to be kind of like the monster from The Ritual. So I kind of like.
Wow.
Like that's amazing. He's just ruining childhood.
Yeah, apparently. Been watching a lot of Winnie the Pooh recently with my daughter, and to think of Winnie the Pooh as a murdering psychopath is kind of a crazy thought to me, so I'm very excited to see this movie. He is a bear. So apparently it's him and Piglet, right?
Him and Piglet, yep.
Murdering Christopher Robin.
And other people
Other
because
people
they
as
become
well.
feral because he's a bastard and
abandons
left
them.
them. Piece of shit.
Oh, Christopher Robin.
Bother.
Oh, bother.
I wonder if he talks.
I'm just a little black rain cloud. And he's gonna be a. That's what I was wondering. I kind of think it would be better.
I hope he has the same voice.
If he not like that would be awesome. But I feel like he's just gonna be like Leatherface, just make noise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with this movie. If it's
He just sounds like a regular voice. Hello, I'm Winnie the Pooh. And
Winifred Poe.
I'm the
Winifred.
Pooh. I'm the Pooh. Welcome to the 100-Acre Wood. I'm gonna murder you now. Goodbye. Good evening.
Woods, bitch.
Give me your fucking.
So, guys, what else has been going on? I know, Matt, obviously we talked last week about the awesome opportunity that we had to go see The Outwaters up in Salem. Obviously, it was a great time. Andrew, I wish you could have come with us because it was a lot of fun, and this is the type of movie that I feel like would be right up your alley. Yeah, and
But I'll see it soon enough.
It was fun. I'm excited to see your thoughts, or hear your thoughts, I should say, when it comes out in Screenbox.
Yeah,
Cats,
like,
too.
Next week or this Friday?
I don't think there's been a
It'll be out in
release
theaters tomorrow.
date yet.
But I think I'm just hoping by the end of the month.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be
It's
too
not
too
playing
long.
anywhere near us.
No. So Matt checked, and
I couldn't find it on anything.
I think it's only playing like in Boston and Salem. So if you want to
Pain in the
go make the road trip, you certainly can. But
By myself, is there?
yeah, I mean, hey,
It's worth it.
I would call you the man personally if you went up by yourself. Yeah,
Took a bunch of
there you
holes
go.
in the end up on Revere Beach.
There
Like,
you
what
go.
the fuck happened to
Yeah.
Andrew?
Dude, so my my GPS up to Salem took me along Revere Beach, and I was like, this is what all the stories that I've heard are and it was the middle of the winter. It was like driving along like Hull, but on shore.
It's like Wollaston Beach.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, or Walls. Yes. So, hey, Revere, fuck you. But hey, if you're listening on the North Shore, we love you. Keep listening. Guys, before we get into one particular movie that I know all three of us are dying to talk about, the latest trend in horror between The Outwaters and Skinamarink, which is the movie that we're going to talk about. Spoiler. There's been another announcement about A24 producing another horror movie that is a obscure YouTube found footage, not even found footage type thing. Actually, it is found footage, but apparently A24 is making a movie about the Backroom.
That's scary.
Have you guys watched this YouTube?
That was a while ago that I watched it, and I remember it. I enjoyed it, but I'd have to rewatch it.
It's very creepy.
Yeah.
Matt, you would like it. It's so I guess so. I read an article on Bloody Disgusting the other day about how The Outwaters, Skinamarink, and a couple of other movies that I forget the titles of are setting this new trend for something called liminal horror, which I guess essentially what they're saying there is that the story takes place over spaces that are kind of like office buildings or houses or like weird like little things like that, and that's going to be the new trend in horror because TikTok, Reddit, creepypastas have become so popular. Like a lot of the stories that are in all of those things have become so influential in horror that this is what we're going to be. So I personally think the short films of the Backrooms are pretty good and pretty scary. I'm hesitant to see what they make out of a full feature of this. Matt, I know you haven't seen it yet. Andrew, I know you have. What are your thoughts?
It's going to come back around to when we start.
Yeah, it's gonna. Let's talk about this, and then we'll get right into Skinamarink. How about that?
I think it's wild that that 17-year-old kid that made those. He's directing those movies.
Yeah,
like they gave him like
on his summer vacation
when did
from
these
high
come
school.
out?
2016.
So he was younger
really
than
young.
17 when they
Yeah,
made
he's
these?
17 now, right?
I don't know if
or
they
was
came
he
out- I don't-
17 at the time?
I don't know if they came out that long ago because he's still in high school right now, and apparently he's directing this movie on his summer vacation
For A24?
from either high school or college. So if you can find it, Andrew. Actually, I have it right here too.
Oh, it came out in 2022. I could have sworn that was.
What is this called? The Backrooms?
The Backrooms. So if you look it up on YouTube, you'll find it. It's a series of videos. There's one video that's more like prominent than the other ones.
How many are there?
Oh, 2019 is the short.
Is that like thing about...
Yes, it's very spooky.
2019. So if he's 17 now,
He's probably in college, on college, I'd say. So if you haven't heard of the Backrooms, it's a
he
series.
was 13. He wasn't in college.
a series of found footage horror videos which have thus far garnered nearly 100 million views and will now be adapted by the big screen by A24, Atomic Monster, Chernin Entertainment, 21 laps.
Cool.
Let's see. So the director, his name is Kane Parsons, who right now is 17 years old, will direct from a script by Roberto Patino, who did a movie called MZ, apparently. He'll have to wait till his summer vacation from college. So, wild. And this is, I feel like...
Where's he from? Does it say?
Let me see.
Pretty cool name.
Can't find it on.
Candy canes are good.
I'm sure you could probably find it if you looked it up online. Candy cane. This is Kane with a K.
Yeah,
Kane with a K. But I would say that if you haven't seen The Backroom, it's very similar to a movie that we want to talk about right now, which is called Skinamarink. You can watch on Shudder. And it's the type of thing that I don't necessarily know needs to be made into it. The Backrooms on YouTube is perfectly good and perfectly spooky as a YouTube short series of videos. Maybe if the plot's expanded, it'll be good. I don't know, Andrew. But Skinamarink is the example of the good idea for a short story that goes feature length and has very polarizing reactions. And I think when we talk about this movie right now, there's going to be a wide varying, or actually maybe not that wide varying, but a varying degree of reactions, which obviously, great story, an indie film that was made for $15,000. The director's name is Kyle Edward Ball. He made the movie at his childhood home, which is really, really cool. You can tell, I think, that he inserted some of his personal experiences in, or at least if you read some of the interviews that he's done, which there's a lot of them, he has said that that's, a lot of it is based on his childhood, certain fears, if you will, not his experience. So Skinamarink, I feel like we should Wildhood, yeah.
Wild Note.
And Matt and I talked about this last week. But I feel like, so we covered obviously The Outwaters last week, and Skinamarink is a big release on Shudder right now, huge movie. I feel like The Outwaters and Skinamarink are going to be two movies that are linked together because they're similar films in terms of their simplicity and their minimalism. And this might be a new trend for horror, as exemplified by the fact that The Backrooms is now getting a movie. So we might see more of this coming forward. So, I don't know. I guess... let's just talk about Skinamarink. Who would like to go first? I think all three of us have differing opinions.
Probably.
Andrew, why don't you go first?
I've never been more bored watching. I love slow burns. This was, to me, there wasn't one thing in the movie. The whole time I was just being like, something's gonna happen. Something has to happen. And then it was like an hour and 20 minutes. I don't think anything's gonna happen. And then some stuff happened, and it was like, this is what I was waiting for, was that. Like, I get the concept. I know it's experimental horror, but sometimes it's bad. And I just personally thought it was absolute trash, basically.
Okay.
I hated it. I did not like it.
So that's not far off from a lot of what the reaction has been to this movie. I feel like it's either you love it or you hate it.
It's 50-50. Yeah, it's split down.
I personally feel like I'm not on either side. I thought it was perfectly okay. I thought it was a very interesting concept. I liked the way it was made. I like the lo-fi style of it. Mm-hmm. I thought a lot of like the aspects of like the toys and trying to recreate the fear of, or like the feeling of being a kid that's afraid of the dark and afraid of being abandoned by your parents. I like all of those concepts, but it was so much longer than it needed to be. I checked my watch probably 4 or 5 times during it. It's just so many static shots of just ceilings and hallways and floors and toys and TVs and public domain cartoons. Like, it's a cool idea, but it would have been better as a short film. If this was 30 minutes, I probably would have loved it, and I feel like I just didn't. It just wasn't for me. I gave it 2 out of 5 on Letterboxd, mostly because I thought it was interesting, not because I thought it was like a crazy watch, because it isn't. So there's some spooky stuff for sure.
But it's not even that spooky. It's like
That's the best way I can describe it because it's not
like
scary.
I understand they're trying to build the tension and get that to you, but it takes too long. You're building the tension. If you're building that tension for 10 minutes and then stuff starts to happen, cool.
You understand, though, that there are some people that are calling this the scariest movie they've ever seen in their entire life.
And you know what I would say to that? Those people live under a rock.
Yeah, because they haven't seen a lot of horror movies.
I feel like it's this new age where whatever comes out next, it's the best thing I've ever seen. This is the best thing. This is the best. And and I feel like that happens a lot with every generation. Everything's the greatest thing. Whatever comes out next, that's the best thing ever. It's that recency bias.
I know. You beat this drum quite a bit, and you're not wrong at all. Because
well, I mean, that's just my.
I feel like that is
do it
like
for me.
With social media and everything. There's more availability for people to say like this is so awesome or so bad or whatever. So I agree with you.
It comes down to also the fact the hype around this movie was, oh my gosh, it's going to be. Whereas, like you said, if someone was like, hey, this is 20-minute short film on YouTube called Skinamarink, give it a check, and I watched it and it was pretty much that, just boiled down to 20 minutes, I'd be like, that was pretty good, and then I would have probably actually liked it, but it was just, there was this hype, like this is the scariest thing you're ever going to see, and then it's an hour and 40 minutes of just, what are there, 50 words spoken in that entire movie, and like...
Yeah. I know it's certainly
just the same scene over and over again.
It requires your attention and your patience.
Oh, it had my patience and attention.
Matt, I know you want to give your opinion on this, but I would say like this is the perfect example. Like I think The Backrooms is a perfect 20-minute YouTube
they did a great
scary
job with that.
horror film. And apparently Kyle Edward Ball based Skinamarink on. He had a YouTube channel where he basically made films out of people's nightmares and. The comments that he got on these films turned into Skinamarink, the most common comments about people's
fears,
common nightmares and fears. So he made that movie based on those things, which again, great idea. I think it's really cool. It just didn't ultimately work for me. I know you hated it, Andrew. Matt, what did you think of it?
I'm kind of with you. I was a little in the middle. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was underwhelming, but there were parts of it that I thought were extremely effective. In particular, when I think it's the girl, Kaylee.
Yes.
When she goes upstairs and she's looking around and looks under the bed, and when she comes up, the mom is sitting on the bed.
Yeah.
Facing the other direction.
Yeah.
Weird. That was creepy as fuck. Especially like as you're watching it, you have no idea what's coming next. You're kind of anticipating it. I watched this in the dark, pretty fucking stoned.
I feel like I wish I had watched that by myself in the dark.
Yeah, I feel like this is.
And then I probably would have been having a heart attack somewhere in my house.
So the type of movie, obviously we drink on this podcast, and we're usually
don't condone
usually
marijuana,
a couple of us.
We like marijuana.
We do because usually a couple of us are high on this podcast.
Doesn't mean we condone
at any given moment. Doesn't necessarily mean that we condone doing either of those things.
I think
while
you should
driving,
do it all the
but
time.
While watching
Not while
horror,
driving.
do both those things. This is a good movie to watch high.
Yeah, no, it was just I got through it, but yeah, no, I agree. It's like it's longer than it needs to be. There's not really any point other than it being that kind of experimental idea.
Yeah.
Rather than a movie. I think it's more of just an idea. But I don't think anything he did I don't think it was bad.
It certainly wasn't
Like
bad.
it was just.
I
could understand that people going into it are going to be like, "What the fuck?" Like that was 100 minutes long.
Yeah, I think Kat and Andrew both hated this. But I would think you would agree this is not a poorly made movie.
No, I was just going to say, he definitely proved that he's got chops.
He can
make
vibe.
a movie. He can capture a vibe. If you give that guy more than $15,000 to make a movie, I think he's not going to make a movie with that. If you give that guy a real budget, he's not going to do the same shots of these things. He's doing that because it's cheap, it's effective, and it's a good way to make money. And that's why the horror industry is going to make more of these movies, because they go, this guy made this movie did $2 million in like the first week it came out or whatever. Off $15,000. So yeah, it's a slam dunk idea. But if you give this guy an actual story,
But
with money, I think he could make a banging movie.
I have a but.
But I have the butt too.
Box office sales don't represent the quality of the movie.
Correct.
They don't, but I have a but for
But
that. But in this day and age, if you market it correctly, You're going to make money off it. It's like all these stupid fucking Marvel movies that they make now. Those movies are trash, and
hold on, before you go off the
millions
rails.
of dollars.
I'm gonna pull a Jeff
Before you go
Goldblum.
off
I'm
the
gonna pull an
rails.
Ian Malcolm here and say, John, no, because you're saying the equivalent of if I made a flock of condors on this island, then you wouldn't have any issue with it. And I say no to that because the marketing machine behind the Marvel movies is so much greater than any of these indie horror movies.
Oh, I completely agree, but they have a niche marketing area, and they know how to market to that demographic.
I don't even necessarily agree there's a niche market for these horror movies. I don't agree with that. I think there's a huge audience.
I think if you ask
I think
10
there's
people,
a general
3 people probably know what the fuck you're talking
There's
about.
a general horror audience for
Yeah.
sure that are gonna that's like me. I'm gonna try and see as much as I can, whether it's good or bad.
I wouldn't even call you Matt. I wouldn't call you a general.
I'd call you a
hardcore horror audience.
But still, like, I'm saying general of being like, I'm not like I'm gonna watch Megan when it's just like I'm not gonna go to the fucking theater to see everything.
No.
But I'm gonna watch as much of the content that comes out year by year that I can. But what I was gonna say is so it's because I'm gonna end up losing this thought.
No, do it.
And so having these liminal
yes.
movies come out, which I don't even think the Outwaters really was that liminal. I think it was minimal, but I don't think it's very liminal in terms of how you described it as being in kind of one place because it's in such a big fucking place.
Is that even is liminal
So,
a word? What the fuck
so
does that
I
even
actually
know?
didn't even. So it is. Let me give you the definition when I
subliminal?
find it. Yep. Because I understood, and like when you Google the word liminal, I know this is not good for a podcast. These are the images that come up.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I'll post a screenshot of this, like on our Instagram story. But like it's,
there's
I guess if I had to
definition
describe
for the
it,
word?
the definition for the word is occupying a position at or on both sides of a boundary or threshold, or relating to a transitional or initial stage of a process. That's not
Okay,
yeah,
well, no,
fine.
that actually
Yeah.
does make sense. Okay, but so
Think of a long, skinny hallway that looks exactly alike on both sides for as far as your eyes can see. That's the best way I can describe
that's
it.
But so
Perfect sense.
the movies you have this movie that was $15,000 and made $2 million. This, that, and the other thing, and now there's this other one coming out and saying like, if this is going to be the next big thing, if it ends up like this next movie, this Backroom.
If it's the same fucking thing.
Well, no, but if it's a big hit and it really is really scary and it's really good, but if people see this and they're like, well, that movie is fucking boring as shit, and now they see this coming out and they're like, well, is this the same as that? Like, some people might be like, well, I'll fucking wait till it's on Shudder or something and watch it then instead.
So I hear your point. I present a counterpoint. A24 picks up.
Yeah.
That is wild.
A24 has a good
Wild.
name.
Huge.
But like it all comes, I think it comes down to marketing. But it's like some people, it always cracks me up when people are like, "This said it was going to be the scariest movie since The Exorcist. It's not that
They
scary."
say that about everything.
And I'm like, "Do you think The Exorcist is the scariest movie in the world?" They're like, "No, I laugh every time I watch it." And then I'm like, "Well, then what the fuck does that comment even mean to you in the first place?" So,
Well, we're going to talk about a scary movie tonight.
I don't want to get
More on
fired
that.
up because sometimes like horror, there's horror. The horror community is so widespread, but there's a lot of gatekeeping. Really like negative, shitty fucking ideas that float around.
Yeah.
And I mean, it kind of is what it is, but there's also a lot of good people too. But
You're not wrong. You're not
100%.
wrong.
It's like any fan
It's anything,
base, if
yeah.
anything. And you get your comic book fans.
music
I
fans.
get it.
Yeah. I know
Marvel
Andrew.
fans.
Well,
hates
there's like music fan, like it's just
Yeah,
like,
music fans.
video
I
games,
hate
everything.
any
yeah.
like. Well, it's the same thing as this country. Not to get political, you have your 1% on the left, your 1% on the right. I can't stand either of them.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when you have like that 1% of fans that are just so fucking out of control that you can't talk about movies without talking about this movie. This movie wouldn't be around without it.
Yeah.
I can't.
Well,
with
see,
that.
I
can't.
I have part of that in me, but then I also have.
But you also
but
have
I-
levels.
I have
There's a level to
Yeah,
it.
I have the other side that's like, yeah, but I mean, Return of the Living Dead's an awesome movie. Like you know what I mean? Like, I can kind of mix and match. I can watch dubbed over Italian schlock fucking horror movies.
Of course.
Schlock. Yeah.
So,
Because you're a person that enjoys horror.
Yeah, it's
You know, I
just,
feel like a
I
lot
like
of the
to
people
take it
that
all in.
necessarily review these movies don't necessarily enjoy horror. Like, I feel like some of them pretend to enjoy horror, like the mainstream shit, but don't like the otherworldly weird shit that's
Which
come
again,
out
though,
in
it
whatever
it
decade,
confuses
you know?
me, like, because like you were just talking about, we're in the TikTok day, and is instantaneous. Need this, need that, need that. I don't know why anybody likes this movie. If they're TikTok fans, an hour and 40 minutes
movie.
Nothing.
So great.
They don't even watch movies.
You brought it up. Great point. So both these movies that we're talking about, Skinamarink and The Outwaters, both got notoriety from TikTok, especially Skinamarink. And Megan did as well because.
Dance.
So Megan apparently in
Yeah,
that
the
movie,
viral
she does
dance.
like a TikTok dance. And they put that on TikTok before they even released the trailer for the movie to promote the movie, and it made a shitload of money, so it worked. But that's a huge marketing tool.
Yeah, it's a dance.
But
what
like,
they do for Skinamarink,
so
put a fucking
Skinamarink and
slow picture
Outwaters,
of a fucking
both on
four-hour
TikTok,
long.
made a huge impact, and I feel like that's Skinamarink more so than the Outwaters by a landslide. But it just goes to show this is going to be the way of things now.
I hope it crashes and burns.
Well,
so
I don't know,
hard.
dude. TikTok is kind of on the bubble right now, anyway.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that.
China.
All right. So, I guess one sentence, final thoughts on Skinamarink. Andrew, go.
Suck my fucking butt. That movie sucks.
Wow.
I don't know what else to say.
Okay.
I was trying to think of something nice to say.
Okay, I'll go. Good idea that went too long. Worth checking out if you have the patience of a god. Matt?
Yeah, if you're willing to, if you go in knowing what it is, it's very minimal. There's some creepy parts in it. There's pretty decent jump scares. But, turn the lights off, watch it at night, watch it alone or with your significant other or whatever, do your thing. And just if you're going to watch it, dive in. Just be completely open to it and let it do its thing, and then that's it. It's 100 minutes.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
So I realized I had a point that I wanted to make like last week, and I forgot about it, and I remembered just now. So, Matt, your cadence, your voice, and you kind of actually you remind me a little.
Oh, that's a compliment.
Yeah.
Me and my buddies love that guy. He's hilarious.
Oh, I mean, he's fucking hilarious.
Die when
I feel like the cadence of your voice and like the way your voice is,
because I
and
shaved
also
my face?
No, it's not because you shaved
got
your
a
face.
mustache.
No, but you kind of just remind me of him.
I'll take it. He's
I
hilarious.
watched his stand-up
love
special on YouTube last week. He's fucking hilarious.
He's got some good skits too.
He's Gillian Keeves, absolutely.
Even just like his like when he's on other people's podcasts, it's fun.
Yeah,
He's the way his mind works control.
he's very funny. He's a very funny guy, and I'm glad, even though people tried to cancel. So, anyway, you guys want to talk about The Last of Us episode 4? Real quick?
This
we
is
can
a
talk
pretty.
about
This is also kind of a min.
Yeah, I thought
thing,
so.
too.
I mean, I thought it was a very good episode.
I think it was an important episode. It was a character building episode, but it got exciting towards the end. And now I think this next one, which is actually the new one's coming out on Friday.
Yeah.
Yes, because of the Super Bowl. I saw that.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Yeah, I was
they
kind of
they
bummed
didn't want to
because
compete with
this
the Super
episode
Bowl.
was picking up, and then I was like, it's over? I'm like, how fucking long was that? It was only 49 minutes. I was like, every other episode's been like an hour and 20 minutes, I feel like.
Yeah.
See, I feel like people did say this was a slower episode. I didn't think so. I thought last week was a very good episode, but a slow episode. It was story building, it was character building, and I know we talked about it last week, Andrew, about the storyline and everything. But I thought that this felt more like a video game plot. Like, it's just like, yep, okay, we're going, here we are. We're in Kansas City. All of a sudden, we were in Massachusetts. Now we're in Kansas City. So.
This felt more like any
And we're
apocalyptic
shooting
style show.
at people, and we're beating people up, we're stabbing people,
Yeah,
and like
true.
all that stuff. And I thought it was pretty rad. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie, I thought it was
liked
pretty
Yeah,
fun.
That's what I'm looking for in these shows. Like I do enjoy having like episode 3 those deeper episodes
Yeah, you need the
because it
character
builds
development.
that story. Otherwise, it's that fucking TNT show I've been binge watching.
Yeah. Oh, you
that you
gotta
said that
tell
you
us about
love so
that.
much.
But
I can't remember the name of the fucking movie.
Falling Skies. But put
it's
a pin.
such trash.
wait, hold on. You can get to that in a minute. But Last of Us, I would say, I thought this was a good episode. I think it's always good to introduce Melanie Lee, good actress.
Yeah.
Obviously from Yellow Jackets and 2.5 Men. What else is she in? What were we
Always
talking
Sunny in
about? Always Sunny in Philadelphia. What were we talking about earlier?
It was just recently too.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yellow Jackets.
Oh, I don't know. But she's very good in this, and she plays
Oh,
badass. And yeah,
It's
Castle
funny.
Rock.
It's
Castle
funny because
Rock.
she's kind of like.
Was she in Castle Rock?
yeah, she was.
She was the
the person with the thing in the
the
yeah.
face and the hair.
She still has her like light, like third grade teacher esque, like presence about her
Yeah.
that I think maybe I think I just get that from her as a person in general.
It's like you're sitting in class and she's the one handing you like chocolate milk before you take a nap.
Yeah, she's like the nice teacher.
Like in preschool.
But like she's kind of playing like a really hardcore, very sinister character.
But
so
she always
especially
has,
in this,
the
but she
juxtaposition is kind of
She
funny.
always has that little twinkle in her eye though, so you know that there's good.
Something's off. Yeah.
she's sexy. I think she's sexy, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never thought of her that way.
Me neither.
I thought of her as a teacher that was giving you chocolate.
Well, I think the twinkle you're
So
talking about in
weird.
her eye, where she's like kind of crazy,
Is Mike
but also
staring at her like, get over.
I'm like, yeah, okay, you're kind of sexy.
Bring me that Mad Minute.
She's sexy. Sorry, I don't know what to
That's
say.
the thing is, Mike's thinking of her from Mad Men. So
She's
she
not
in Mad
No, I
Men?
mean,
Wait,
not
she's
Mad
not-
Men,
oh, it's
not
in
Mad
Mad
Men, not Mad Men. 2.5 Men.
Two and a
I
half.
was saying-
Oh yeah, she's very very sexy in 2.5 Men.
I was saying Mad Minute.
Except for the fact that she's attracted to Charlie
cheese.
Sheen.
Yeah. Hopefully she didn't
That's what
caught
I
up
said.
in his little web.
Yeah, God, I hope so too. I think based on her career, clearly she didn't, which is good.
she
So
got out of
that's
that.
great.
Unscathed.
But yeah, I think if you've seen episode 4 of Last of Us, I'm excited to see where the next episode kicks off. It looks like there's going to be some crazy shit that happens. I mean, I guess I can see where people thought this was a filler episode because it kind of just showed what was leading up to one thing. But I wish Kat was here right now because I know last week she was very up in arms saying like, oh, it's like pretty similar to The Walking Dead, but it's better. And like, I agree it's better. It's not similar to The Walking Dead because The Walking Dead would have taken one whole season to progress from Massachusetts to Kansas City. This took an episode. So I feel like the story is just moving so much faster, and I like that a lot because they're just going across. They're getting to their end point. The end point has always been like cross country, and they're getting there. And I mean, this is what, 4 episodes? 5th one's coming out this Friday.
5th one apparently is looking like it's going to be a fucking banger.
I know. We got some huge
There's like monsters
fungus
and
monsters
shit.
and shit. Yeah, it looks awesome. So,
That's what I'm
Yeah.
fucking talking.
but I think also
Them
like,
fungi monsters.
and again, like this is like a big thing from the games, but I think in this episode it did a great job of building the relationship between Joel and Ellie. I think you can really start to see them become close. Him start to feel like a father figure. Like she keeps reading him the puns,
Oh,
which are actually pretty
that's
funny.
actually-
She,
that's
you know what?
almost
She
better-
does,
better
she does
parts.
a
I
really
like those
good
puns.
job at being very likable.
I gotta say, I was apprehensive about her when I saw she was cast as this character because a lot of people had a problem with it that played the games, and I have not played the games because I don't own a PlayStation. You can only play it on PlayStation. And I looked at the character; they don't look alike, but I mean, she's been fantastic.
Yeah.
I'd say better
I
than
had no
Pedro
idea who she
Pascal.
was until I watched
She's
this.
up there. I mean,
You haven't
they're-
watched
they-
Game of Thrones,
They
that's why.
complement
Oh, she's
each
in
other.
Game of Thrones?
Yes, she is.
They play off each other very well.
I thought this girl was like 12 to be.
I mean, she's.
I'm not sure
I
how
don't
old
think
she is. She's not
much
that far
older
off.
than 12.
She's 19.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
in real
I figured
life,
she was like
which
16.
is wild. I
Yeah.
was like, "You're 19. You look like." That's why I was like, I don't know who this is. She was in Game of Thrones. I mean, I've seen a few episodes. So.
So she was in either the last season or the second to last season of Game of Thrones, where Jon Snow is trying to collect allies
I didn't watch
for
it.
his war against the
So
North.
she had a very minimal role in that.
Well, no, she didn't actually. She had a pretty big role. There was a small island that she like just happened to like fall into like rulership of, and she was like playing a 12-year-old girl on that a few years ago. But it was so funny. She was actually in the show like for a few episodes, and then she was like in battle and got killed by a giant in a very graphic way. So she's a good actress.
Well, obviously
But
she's a
when
good actress because, real quick, side note, has nothing to do with this. British actors are much better at doing American accents. British accents.
I mean, that's a
because
fact.
I
It's
didn't.
not even close.
She's British. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
she's fucking British. I was like, I would never have guessed that in a billion years.
either.
All right.
Unless you're Gerard Butler, then you have the worst American
Melanie
accent ever.
Linsky, American or
She's
British?
American.
Like, probably British. I don't, it's like
She's Australian.
okay.
Neither.
well,
but she's
yeah,
not
well,
American.
kind of
Fucking trick
British.
question.
Not American.
Kind of British.
Not American.
Kind
Only
of
gave me
British.
2 options.
Well, she's not British, actually. Well, I mean,
Australia's
technically
was
British people
British convicts.
went to Australia.
Yeah, British- yeah, so she's
yeah,
British.
so, all right.
But they have a slight, like, more twang to their
Definitely
British.
more of a twang.
like
Okay.
a southern accent. In
Speaking of
America.
Australia,
Speaking of Australia, indeed, that's a great segue. Anything else to say on The Last of Us Episode 4?
Watch it.
Or anything else before we go into Lake Mungo?
Oh, we're not doing our watch list.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
do you have any?
Yeah, so I watched a shitload.
Andrew, go ahead.
So I'm just gonna throw 2 movies right out there that are not horror, but they were good. I watched The Banshees of Inisherin.
I gotta watch that.
Very good.
Yeah.
If you liked In Bruges, very good. The chemistry between
It's like a
Colin
dark
Farrell
comedy,
and
right?
Gleason yeah, it's very dark.
I heard it's very dark.
It's dark.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. Like they do such a good job with the comedy in it that you never feel like it's that dark of a movie.
Yeah.
It's just very well done. I love those types of movies. I almost like that type of movie more than I like. That's like my.
Well, I mean, a good movie is a good movie.
It was excellent. Yeah. Like I can't believe Colin Farrell turned into the. I watched No Time to Die. Good Bond movie. Check it out. It was 2001.
Is that Goldeneye came back?
Well, no,
now?
I had just realized that like I hadn't watched a Bond movie since.
What did I say? Was the last one I watched?
I watched Quantum of Solace was the last one I watched. That was like 2 more after.
Die Another Day.
Die Another Day.
That's the last one that I watched.
Long time.
Pierce Brosnan
Like
and Halle
I
Berry.
fell asleep watching Skyfall. I didn't even watch Spectre. I think there's one after that. And then I just picked. See, that's what I like about Bond movies. People are like, gotta watch all. I'm like, it's a fucking Bond movie. I don't need to watch any.
Yeah.
He's shooting people. He's making out with some hot chick.
Yeah.
He's gonna take over the world. Russians are probably doing something for the. Actually, Remy Malkin. Or no, Remy. What the fuck?
I know who.
That sounds like a hockey player. Remy Malek.
Yeah.
He was awesome. He's like the Bond villain. He's been in
Robot.
fucking Mr. Robot. He's been in a bunch of shit. Like he's one of those actors that like you look at and you're like, who the fuck is that?
Which actor?
Remy Malek.
Oh yeah, Bond movie. Yep.
Bond movie. He was great as a villain, Mr. Robot. He wasn't in Ex Machina, was he? No, that was.
Dude, you know what? I actually was gonna say Ex Machina, but I.
Is he in
Is
that?
he?
I know it's. What's that guy's name? Oscar Isaac or Isaac Oscar or whatever the fuck.
I'm
his name
pretty sure
Oscar Isaac, not
Oscar
Isaac.
Isaac.
Yes.
is.
He's in that.
2 first names, always
Yeah.
a winner.
Yeah, Isaac Oscar wouldn't sound right.
Oscar Isaac, yeah, and it's.
He was in Annihilation.
Gleason.
That's what he was in. Annihilation.
Yeah, no, Remy Malek's not in.
He was in this really weird movie too. It was
Alicia
like-
Vikander's in it though, and she's excellent looking.
It was like Malhart something, Buster Malhart. Like, and that was a really weird indie film. Like Buster Malhart. That's in the name. Yeah, that was good. So back to like enough with fucking James Bond.
I was gonna say I apologize as I had a wee. What was the genesis of this conversation we were talking?
I was talking about
Rami
No Time.
Malek.
I was talking about No Time to Die.
Oh,
he's the
so
villain.
I
in the
still
new
haven't
Bond
seen
movie.
it.
That movie's fucking sick.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a Bond movie since Quantum of Solace, which I told.
That's insane to me that you didn't see Skyfall.
Dude, I haven't seen
okay,
any
so I
since Die
saw
Another Day.
I saw about an hour and 30 minutes of
What?
Skyfall, and every time I fell asleep.
Do you guys actually consider yourselves Bond fans?
No.
I enjoy them. I
gosh,
enjoy them the
okay,
same
alright,
way I
alright,
enjoy like a
alright.
Mission
I
Impossible.
don't not like them, but
Are
I
the
just-
newer
I
ones?
just
Are
don't
the newer
watch
ones
them.
R-rated or are they PG-13?
No, they're
all
PG-13.
PG-13.
They're all
Really, they're all PG-13.
Yeah.
That's why there's no tits, dude. That's a problem. I mean, if you put some tits in Bond movies, everyone's going to see it. Everybody.
I mean, a simple R rating with some boobs and blood actually probably.
That's what I
would
was saying
do a
when we
good
were
thing.
playing it earlier.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, if these movies are rated R, they would kick so much more ass.
That's why I asked, because I was like, the newer. I couldn't believe that the newer ones aren't even. No wonder I haven't gone to see them, because nipples.
No gratuitous nudity, and
Please give me
no
some.
blood.
There's plenty of side boobs.
No
but that's about
blood.
it.
No blood.
And then I watched Pulse, the 2001 Japanese horror film.
I just got an update that my shipment is being processed, so I should be getting that soon.
I can't wait to hear what you think about this. So yeah, tell
Have
me
you
about
seen
it. I haven't watched it yet. No, I know it was on
It's-
the countdown.
It's more proof that Japanese horror they just really know to show. They have a great way of mankind in general and how we really are. Like this, if this movie came out in 2000, like a pandemic movie, it's the same. It's just everyone's isolated. Computers just came out. Everyone feels isolated, gonna die alone. And then it's weird with like these ghosts coming out of the computers.
Don't give too much away. I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen it. You haven't seen it. Yeah. So that's what I was trying not to.
I want to watch it on the Blu-ray
It's
that I'm getting.
very well done, and it's also this movie came out in 2001. It's way ahead of its time. It's basically like it's as if this movie knew what technology was going to use.
Probably did.
It nailed it. Couldn't do a better job. There are some parts of this movie that are just your skin's crawling, and the music early in this movie is so fucking weird. It's like weird, like women making like, it's like kind of like sinister, like the clips, like when they do like the snuff films.
Yep.
It's like,
Dude.
it's just you hear it and then you're like, this is really uncomfortable. And I watched this in the dark.
That
and I was
always
like, I don't
upset
like
me
yeah,
so
it's-
much about
those-
Sinister was the music. And
the
those
music. They do a really good job
fucking
early on,
movies.
and it reminds me of like, it's like a post-apocalyptic kind of like, it's almost like 28 Days Later.
It's like a dystopian.
Yeah, it's like the end of the, it's like an end of the world.
I can't wait. So where did you watch this, by the way?
said it was on
Shudder?
Amazon.
Amazon? I think it's
Amazon.
on Shudder though, but I got it on. I'm always on my Amazon.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was on Shudder because it
pretty
was
sure it's
on
on
Shudder's
Tubi.
countdown. Or Tubi, too, yeah.
Tubi, but there
Tubi
were commercials.
Tubi
so,
really has everything. Okay.
So I watched that, and then I also watched another found footage movie, Butterfly Kisses from 2018.
Yeah, you've been.
Oh, yeah.
chalking this
Kat
one up.
was struggling to understand what you were...
She thought I was talking about the Rick Carlisle song,
Or
Butterfly Kisses.
or
Or the
Ashton
Butterfly
Kutcher movie.
Effect. The Ashton
which
Kutcher
I don't
movie.
even understand how you confuse that.
Or the
I didn't type.
metamorphosis of a caterpillar.
I didn't type the like. there's one
Andrew,
thing
you
that-
understand how Kat thinks? She saw the word butterfly, and that's immediately what
butterfly effect? No, I clearly wrote Butterfly Kisses.
She doesn't read, Andrew. She doesn't read.
Butterfly?
Yeah, she doesn't read.
This is
Love her, she
easily.
doesn't read.
I had watched this movie like 3 years ago, and I was like, "This is easily in my top 5." This movie fucking
Wow.
slaps.
Okay.
It's basically this story about. It's like an urban legend, like a creepypasta. Peeping Tom, who, the only way you can see him is if you stand at the end of this tunnel in this town like this, and you stare at the other end for an hour straight, without blinking, which nobody can do. So they try to catch. It's like these two kids trying to catch it on tape. And they realize, what if we use the camera as because the camera
doesn't blink.
Doesn't
Yep.
blink. So it's basically this folklore creepypasta about that. But that is the beginning of the movie. And so there's this filmmaker who moves into a house. He finds all these tapes underneath like a water heater. Their tapes from the found footage that they were making for like a school project. And then he watches them and he wants to turn that into a documentary. So another documentary crew's filming him while he's making a documentary. So it's like it's
Film within a film.
film within a film, and it's like his mental breakdown while he's trying to prove this true, and everyone's telling him this is fake, this is hoaxed, and all this stuff. And then the last like 30 minutes, it's wild. It's a fantastic movie.
Okay.
It's
What
so
is this
fucking
on?
creepy. This was on, I think, Amazon too.
Okay.
Okay, so my question to you would be, would you love this movie next week, or would you like to talk
I
about
actually
the
would
conspiracy?
rather talk about this movie because I think this movie's better.
Because I
think it's
actually-
much
I really like
scarier.
the conspiracy too, but
I know.
I
I
think
think Butterfly
Conspiracy
Kisses is.
I'm gonna watch
a
both
lot-
anyway.
watch it.
but,
Yeah,
yeah.
watch it anyway.
Well, yeah, watch. How about you guys watch Butterflies and then we decide as a team.
Okay. And the conspiracy
Teamwork
too. We
does
gotta
make
watch
the
it.
dream work.
Gotta watch them. Okay.
I've seen the conspiracy. So.
Well, no, I know we.
No, but so
we
you
all-
only have to watch
Matt
it.
hasn't. I
haven't seen
have.
the conspiracy.
Yeah.
Cat
So
definitely.
you have to watch both.
Yeah.
You just have to watch Butterfly Kisses.
Absolutely. Okay. Fair enough.
Fantastic.
Andrew, good watching. Good watching, my friend. Matt, anything else you've watched besides Last of Us and besides Skinamarink?
I got my Vinegar Syndrome copy, 4K of From Beyond by Stuart. Have you guys seen this movie? Mm-hmm.
It's the Lovecraft one.
Long time ago.
Oh yeah. So I watched that when it came in because I was really excited. The artwork's.
Yeah, that was one thing. I was like looking at all the artwork on those. And I was like, that's so cool.
That movie rocks, and I love that it's like because it has both Barbara Crampton and it's gonna bug me that I can't.
Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffrey Combs, thank you, and who are both in Reanimator, and they kind of like swap roles from Reanimator, where Combs is kind of the villain, Crampton's the victim, and now in this one she's more of like the mad scientist. Well, she's not the mad scientist, but she's the one that's more intrigued by the experiment.
Also easy on the Hampton.
Yeah, I
Very
mean,
easy on the
she's
eyes. Yep.
and she still is like just so gorgeous. She rocks.
Very much still. Oh yeah.
But and it's just such a wild movie. You can definitely see where like Slither got its ideas from, like in terms of like the monster and stuff. If you guys have seen, was that
Oh yeah.
James Gunn?
James Gunn. Yep.
That was James Gunn?
Yeah,
Sure was.
That movie's fucking great too. But yeah, no. So I gave that a rewatch. I was excited to have it because that was actually Sarah's Valentine's present for me. It came much earlier than it was pre-ordered. But and then I watched thank you, a Lucio Fulci movie, 1972, Don't Torture a Duckling, which is kind of a giallo, but not really-ish. But it's about this Italian isle that's trying to investigate so much children. It wasn't as much horror as it was kind of like a noir kind of thing. Italian, obviously. I actually watched it after we podcast, and it was cool. It's definitely like one of Lucio Fulci's acclaimed classic movies. He also did City of the Living Dead, The Beyond, which I love all of those movies. But it's on Tubi. It's worth checking out if you're into the Italian. If you like giallo, you'll.
It's very
Word.
nice.
Guys, anything else before we talk about Lake Mungo?
Oh yeah, Falling Skies, but I'm talking about
Jake,
that.
man.
Falling Skies from TNT.
It takes place in Boston too. That's where it
Stars
starts off.
Noah Wiley.
Dude, the aliens invade Boston.
And,
All right, why don't we take a
They
quick
run.
90-second break for a word from our sponsors, and then we shall come back and talk about Lake Mungo.
It's official. The critics' decision is in.
Spooky World is spooktacular.
Enter the new black hole.
If you dare.
Or the new horror House of Wax. This year, don't miss the real Jason, Bobby Pickett, or Alice Cooper. Phone the 24-hour Spooky World hotline. 508-838-0200. That's 508-838-0200. Spooky World is just west of Boston and haunts every night from October 1st till November 1st. If you had the nerve, you'd phone 508-838-0200.
It's American Horror Theme Park. Spooky World.
Don't be scared. I'm the super sweet monster with the super sweet new cereal, Count Chocula.
Biffle, here's the super sweet new cereal, Frankenberry.
But I've got chocolate sweeties for monstrous chocolate flavor.
Well, I've got berry-flavored sweeties for monster strawberry flavor.
Count Chocula.
Frankenberry.
Hi.
Frankenberry.
Count Chocula.
Sleepy Clovers.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
The new face of evil is going to scare you to death. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. It's killer this year. Then be next door to the Abington Ale House. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. Eat, drink, and be scary. Go to bhmansion.com.
All right, gentlemen, are we ready to talk about Lake Mungo now that we're back? Okay. Matt, I will defer to you first. Talk about Lake Mungo, my friend.
Cool. So this is the third time I've watched this movie. And it's just as fucking creepy the third time watching it. This movie so it's about this family that goes on vacation, and while they're away, their daughter disbelievably drowns in a lake or river, whatever. They're not at Lake Mungo when they go on this trip. So throughout the movie, it's basically a documentary about the family and the occurrences that happen to them afterwards, where their house started to be haunted. There was ghostly apparitions in her room, this and the other thing, and so on and so forth. And it kind of goes from there. And there's a lot of twists and turns that come from, and it gets really fucked up as it goes on. You end up finding out there's a lot more to, I'm sure we'll get into later.
Yep.
But this movie has to have one of the most frightening jump scares, I think, probably ever. And just like reveals in like horror movies. Because every time I watch this movie, I'm just stressed. Because like I know it's gonna happen, and even though I know it's gonna happen, this is one of the only movies that makes me I like physically have a reaction to it every fucking time.
For reference, so Lake Mungo ranked number 28 on Shudder's 101 Scariest Horror Movie Moments. And for reference, Wreck was number 20 that we talked about last week, which I think this movie is leaps and bounds scarier than Wreck.
I did say Wreck was one of the scariest found footage movies I've seen, but I said one.
So, okay, here's the question going in. Obviously, this is a documentary, not necessarily a mockumentary. This is actually a documentary. There's a lot of found footage in it. You guys find this to qualify for Found Footage February? Do you think a found footage movie?
Yes, and I thought about that, too.
I thought so, too.
Because I was like, this is kind of like technically... But
it is a mockumentary.
In terms of
it's
real
not
life,
real.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not a mocking of... It's a docking of... It's a docking of...
Kat was just... When I watched it with Kat, she saw it for the first time the other day, and she's not here tonight, obviously. She was having such a hard time, like, understanding, like, is this real? And I was like, no, it's not real. It's absolutely not real.
You should have just told her yes.
Did she read the, like, synopsis of the movie?
Yeah, I know.
And, like, how it's under horror?
Yes. So I was just like, no, it's not real. It's a documentary or a mockumentary, whatever you want to call it. But just watch it and pay attention to it for what it is. And I don't think she really liked it. I can't understand, personally, because this movie fucking rocks. Yeah. Anywho, Andrew, what do you think of this movie?
Let's start off by saying, out of every found footage film I've seen, actually, not every found, because, like we said, it does classify, I think, too. I would agree. I don't think they could have done a better job of making you actually believe that this is a documentary, then
Yeah.
like you just said. Granted, we're talking about Cat here, but if you put this movie, like you started 20 seconds in before the person, and the person has no idea what you're watching, and they just watch that, they would probably think that that's a documentary. The acting in this is absolutely phenomenal. The way they read their lines and they make it sound like they're actually doing a documentary is so well done, because you see it all the time in a lot of movies that do this thing, and it's so forced, and it's so you can tell that they're reading off a sheet. It's the younger son talking and putting in the ums and the pausing, and it's just very well done. It's a nuance that's like very difficult, I would imagine.
That's what that movie Megan is Missing lacked, was the naturalness of its like
delivery,
storytelling. Yeah. And that's where I think this is one of the strongest points of the movie, is that it's extremely fucking.
You would never, you could not differentiate this between, or like making them. It informs of like the way it's done. It is done absolutely perfect.
This is a top tier.
Like
This certainly feels like a family that's like in pain.
Yeah.
Thinking about their daughter that's gone.
And it's
trying to figure out
everybody
what
in it, though, too. Does a perfect job.
Their dad, the mom, the brother. Like,
the side
it's great.
characters, the fucking medium, Ray, or whatever.
There's so much more of the story that unfolds, too, that makes it so much more gut-wrenching. Because you're like, oh my God. Like, when you realize some of the stuff that happens.
That whole aspect is fucked.
It's super, and it's very sad. Because it's like, Jesus Christ. Like, you just, like... It was very upsetting, but it just this like much more sinister, like void of where it goes. So.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this movie is more so about grief. This is a movie like I would compare very much to like Hereditary.
Okay.
In terms of the fact that it's about like the loss of a loved one, right? It's mostly about that. Yes, there's some supernatural things going on. You find out, obviously this movie is 14 years old, so if you haven't seen it yet, stop.
It still feels very new.
It does. But I mean, like, you know, you have the dead sibling and the brother trying to make up for the fact that, like, hey, this person's dead. It's kind of my fault. What can I do to try and reconsider this? Which is weird, but he decides that he's going to, like, you know, okay, recreate photographs and get his mom
that
all
whole
fucking
aspect was
jazzed
weird.
up. Yeah, that was weird.
I kind of wish that they went in a different direction.
But
his
Hereditary did the
storyline,
same
though,
thing.
because, like, you're showing me this clearly fucked up individual, that this grief has fucked them. I kind of would like to see him do something wild at some point in the movie, because he was doing all this weird shit, and then the reasoning behind it was, like, I thought it would make my mom feel better.
Yeah.
Why would that make anybody feel better?
Quite odd. Quite odd.
Well, because they got to the point that they thought she was still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But shouldn't the husband have stepped in and been like, listen.
Well, he was like,
yeah,
well,
because
it
they
started making me feel like I fucking was
it.
wrong.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So those two people were fucked up dealing with this grief. If they had like done something weird with them, that would have been kind of cool. But other than that,
that's one of the things that I thought was like an extremely exciting part of the movie, is that they were so bewildered by these images that they went as far as of exhuming her body. Imagine that.
Yeah,
like
the sun comes
just
out.
even like the
Hey,
the,
Daddy,
well, even just like the dad in the family, he's just like, he's being interviewed and he's saying like, I even had doubt in myself that I potentially saw her dead because my wife was so so convinced that she was still out there. Like, that's going to be a horrifying feeling. Like, what if I actually did
blew it? Yeah.
Misidentify her, which I feel like is obviously not one of the scariest parts of the movie, but obviously adds to the element of the scares. Like, it's just fucking...
It's just
it's so scary
grim.
to think about.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I think that's a picture perfect. Like, that's a husband that's beaten down by the grief of his own wife.
Yeah.
That he started questioning that, because like if you you're not gonna mistake that. Like,
he definitely hasn't had sex in a while either, for sure.
Probably not. I mean, his neighbor had sex.
Fair to say.
Yeah.
You know, that whole aspect is fucking.
Yes. All right. So Lake Mungo came out in 2008, by the way. You want to talk about some of the other horror movies from the year of our Lord, 2008?
Yeah, and I think we dive in full blown.
All right.
I
So
wanna talk more about that
let's see
creepy
what I got.
movie.
What's that?
I said I wanted to talk more about the creepy part.
We certainly still can. I'm going to hit on the more, apparently, through the A's. And 2008 was not very good of a year for horror. I have Beyond Loch Ness. Ever heard of it? Beyond the Rave? Nope. Anyone? Let's see. Cloverfield, the first movie that I've heard of.
Also found footage.
Actually, also found footage, and a movie that I would have considered nominating for this movie. For this month, I should say.
I say highly unlikely that you're filming all of what is going on
there
at points of that movie. Like when the I'd throw
the fucking camera down.
There's a monster trying to eat me. No one's gonna watch this on YouTube. Die already.
There is a part of that movie that stuck with me. It's when they're in the tunnel and the thing attacks the girl. And
girl gets bitten.
They get into that little tent. And she's like, I don't feel so good. And her fucking head explodes. It's like, oh my God, dude. Like, she looks fucked up before she even gets in there. But, like, that's just such a great, subtle body horror element thrown in there. That
I would say
was so fucking scary.
To most people who have not seen Cloverfield, if you have not seen that movie, that is a great PG-13 kill that is...
very over the top.
Yep. Yeah. Which, that's pretty
That's got to be one of the best PG-13 kills
ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's gross.
If
gross.
I'm saying that still sticks with it, I can see it in my head.
Also in 2008, I believe this was either his last film or one of his last films, Diary of the Dead, which was directed by George A. Romero. Great movie. Actually, very good found footage. Another found footage. Shit. There's a little bit of a pattern. Eden Lake. That's a popular one with Michael Fassbender and Kelly Riley.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Okay, fair enough. See what else we got here. Want to make sure I don't...
What year is this? I feel like there's a bunch of...
The Crappening?
Guys.
The Happening?
The Happening. So there's a new M. Night Shyamalan movie
Which I've heard is decent.
Yeah, I've heard it's decent.
My buddy saw it. Yeah, he said it was a little underwhelming, but...
Guys, The Happening is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, that's easily the worst movie. That's like The Last of Us.
One of the worst.
That's what you could either get. You get The Last of Us or The Happening. Like, they do it so well, and then you have like a fungal infection, or you have pollen is killing everybody. It's like, take a fucking... Take
an Allegra, dude.
Yeah, go get an Allegra.
I take one every day.
Guys, Let the Right One In came out in 2008 also. That's a
best of the year.
Awesome movie. Yep. Actually,
so far, based off of what you said.
Is. Yep. Let's see. What else?
Martyrs.
Oh, guys.
He just skips right over it.
Wait, Martyrs?
Martyrs is from 2008.
There it is. Yep.
I still haven't watched that.
That's one you're going to want to cuddle up with like a
box of Ritz crackers.
Yeah. It's a heavy watch.
The Midnight Meat Train, which is based on Clive Barker.
Love that
with my boy Bradley Cooper.
I watched, you know what movie I forgot on my watch list that I forgot about that I just watched last night that reminded me of that movie is this movie called Creep. Not the 2004. It had Sean Harris, the British actor. His name's Sean Harris? I don't know, but it's basically this fucking weird creature that's living in like the tunnels underneath the
listening. Go ahead.
Underneath like the train station in Britain, the UK, and like this girl falls asleep waiting to be with her to the train station. Creature opens up the doors to the stop. It's trying to eat him. Yeah, no, it starts trying to eat him. It's basically like this creature. It's like it reminded me a lot of The Descent, but it's just some dude eating people.
Some dude
that
humanoid
lives underneath. Yeah, it's Judd. It's
some fucking dude.
Dude, it's Sean Harris.
Yeah, I know the actor.
He was in the Bond.
He's in Prometheus.
He was in Prometheus. He was in.
He
was in that other weird movie that you didn't like, Spider.
Spider.
He has like the puppet.
Oh, dude, Possum.
Possum.
Yeah, I fucking hated that movie.
He was good in that though. Like he's a very good actor.
See a fucking therapist.
Yeah, but isn't that every horror movie? See a fucking therapist?
But like this guy,
like Michael Myers.
This guy,
he tried to see a therapist,
loser.
and that didn't work.
It's like Jesus Christ.
See a therapist. Get over your fucking puppets.
That movie was just so.
But he's good. He's a very good actor.
I'm a very tolerant horror movie watcher, and that movie, I was like belligerently mad that I spent like the 90 minutes watching.
Guys, also in 2008, probably the movie that Kat thought she saw when she watched Wreck was Quarantine.
Did you guys?
The American remake of Wreck.
Did you guys watch Wreck together?
Yes.
Okay, I was just saying because she probably just.
Nope.
She probably would have rather watched Quarantine.
She probably would have.
Did she like Wreck?
My buddy.
No, she hated it.
She hates everything.
Fucking hated
she
it.
doesn't like found footage.
My buddy, when I posted the poster of it on, messaged me. He's like, I started watching this.
You're like, yeah, but this is what
Quarantine's the remake.
That's like Kat watching Ring before watching like Ring U.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Or I didn't even know that there was like an American version of Pulse. Did you know that?
What was it called?
Pulse.
Oh,
I didn't know that they
never
were the
seen
same movie.
It was a remake starring
Really?
Kristen Bell in like 2007, and
Really?
the reviews are the same. Like this movie gets trashed. Like everything that the Japanese horror film did well, this movie gets out of the way. Stupid fight scenes and just
fuck that.
it ruins it. They just ruin everything.
Well, you know what movie doesn't bring up poop, and is a great horror movie.
I'm gonna put poop on you.
Awesome little horror movie based on an awesome little horror book is The Ruins. That came out in 2008.
Ruined.
I would ruin you.
Love The Ruins. That is one of my favorite stupid horror movies.
Brutal horror, body horror.
Oh,
I
it's
know
so good.
your answer, Andrew. Have either of you read the book?
No.
Oh my God, the book is better.
You don't know that.
I Am King. I've read the book.
I've
King.
read this book too.
Oh, I just asked you and you said no.
No, you didn't even let me answer. You just said,
You
Andrew,
did say
I know.
I
You
know
said
his
no.
answer.
And you were
I
right,
said
because I
no.
have not read this book, because I do
Okay.
not read books.
So, wait, you just said you did read
Well,
the
don't
book. and
fucking
now
assume that I didn't read it. That's the point I was
I
making.
assumed correctly!
I don't know who read the book or not. Did
I
read
did.
the book?
I did read the book.
Nobody reads fucking books.
Go ahead,
Shut
you
up.
dork.
No, I was just saying nobody reads books. Cool.
I read books.
I do. I do.
Everybody
and
reads
I
books,
did.
just not
This
me.
book. And the movie is just as good. It's
Yeah.
fucking awesome. It's really good.
I did have someone. This was another one. When I posted the poster, someone was like,
I'll let you borrow it. I have it upstairs. Yeah.
"I'm still in the middle of the troop."
I'm going to start reading
fuck
some
it's
books.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you started reading that.
What's that?
I started listening to.
Listening to it. Yeah.
Clarify something. If you guys claim
We know.
if you fucking claim to read a book and you listen to it,
we know.
doesn't count. I'm
We
sorry.
know.
I listened
We
to
know.
a lot of albums. I didn't write them. Shut the fuck up. I don't
Guys,
hear about that anymore.
Saw 5 or Saw V also came out in 2008. Not good.
Sorry.
Nope. Never did I. Let's see. What else? Shudder, Spike,
Shudder
Split,
was
Splinter.
another remake of a Japanese horror movie.
That's correct. Lots of remakes. Oh, The Strangers, guys. The Strangers.
Classic.
That's a classic.
One of the best.
Yep.
The best. of
Liv
those-
Tyler and hey, has Scott Speedman, the other lead, opposite Liv Tyler, been in anything else in his entire life? Scott Speedman? Have we heard of that?
Doug
I just
Speedman.
assumed that was the same guy that's in all the Insidious and Conjuring movies, because that guy's face.
Patrick
yeah,
Wilson.
yeah, might as well be the same guy, because they both look exactly the
No,
same.
Patrick Wilson.
Oh, dude, have you ever seen Hard Candy?
Oh,
Great movie.
with Patrick Wilson and is that their name?
It was Eleanor
Elliot?
Page, not Elliot Page.
Elliot
Yeah.
Page, that
That's a
movie's
fucking
fucked.
trip, dude. Yeah.
What a fucked
And
up
he performs his balls off in that movie.
movie.
Literally. Yeah, literally.
Literally. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Seinfeld reference.
Guys.
Yeah.
So that was 2008 in horror.
Pretty good.
Loosely. There's a lot of fucking
Loosely.
movies on that list.
I mean,
No,
not,
you didn't name any movies that I probably watched, because I know I watched a lot of bad.
Oh,
movies.
that's why I was like, Martyrs is in here.
I'm gonna look at this
Somewhere,
list.
dude.
Why don't you turn that list over this way?
let's talk about
We'll
Lake
look at my
Mungo.
own
Let's talk
list.
about
Yeah,
Lake
let's do
Mungo
that.
because it's more of what we're here to talk about.
Is it?
So what else about Lake Mungo? Anything else other than the fact that it's fucking wicked scary and crazy scary and stupid scary the entire
scary
time?
dog.
Yeah, sure is.
Here's my question: how did she die?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty obvious.
She just drowned?
What
Randomly
are-
just
what-
drowned?
Okay, what are we missing? Tell us.
You're missing the fact that she committed suicide. She didn't drown. She
Yeah.
committed suicide. That's how
Okay.
she died. Clearly, she saw her own death. It freaked her out. She couldn't live with that fact that she saw her death, and she ended up just committing suicide. It's about
So-
grief and mental. Like she.
All right, can we throw the spoiler?
I mean, I think.
I feel like we
Spoiler
have
flag
already,
down.
but yeah,
Spoilers.
okay, sure.
So
An hour and 8 minutes in, spoiler flag is down, son. Yeah.
So there's a scene in the movie where the son is set up cameras all over the house trying to capture paranormal act. And even after it's been exposed that he was kind of fabricating some of the images, just like we had kind of mentioned earlier, him and this other like photographer guy kind of take a trip, but they leave the cameras up. And while they do that, there's a tape that shows that someone was in Alice's, and
Yes.
they look at that and they're like, that's a fucking person. And it ends up being one of the neighbors.
The Toothers?
Yeah, something like that. One of the neighbors that she
Something
used
like
to
that, yeah.
babysit for previously. And the mom ends up kind of snooping around in the room. And you find out that the neighbor was broke into the house looking in her room to try and find a videotape that showed them having sex with each other.
Yep.
And his wife.
Certainly wild. Yeah, threesome.
Yeah.
Woo!
And so it was a pretty heavy kind of twist, in my opinion. I remember seeing that and being like, holy fuck, dude. And being...
There she is.
Miss America.
Making a point to show up. We'll be able to hear Kat's 5 minutes on this.
Just how much she hates Lake Mungo.
Yeah, it's
Lake
okay.
Mango.
Miller Lite, please. Thank you. Okay.
And
Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going.
you have this just really out of nowhere kind of left turn twist.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And then she starts reading the diary entries, and this is where for me the movie really sunk like a fucking rock in my stomach. Is where she's like reading this diary entry about her not really being able to feel like a person anymore and having a hard time just looking at things and feeling normal, and like if something, she knows something's wrong with her. And now that you have said that, like, obviously she committed suicide by drowning, when did that journal entry get written? Before she saw the cell phone or after?
This sounds after she got,
in the video
molested,
with the guy,
raped with her, like, cause she had to be, like, she was in high school. They're clearly grown and have children. They're probably in their 40s.
Having a threesome.
Yeah. Having a threesome, an underage threesome.
Yeah.
And so she has all this built-up guilt, shame, pain from this, and she doesn't even feel like she can go talk to her own parents about it. Like, that's why the ghost is in that room standing over their bed at the end.
Yeah.
Because that's her, in real life, wanting to say something to her parents, and then she realizes, I can't even tell. And so she goes off on this trip, sees her fucking fate, because she knows... It's basically... It was almost like a demon tempting her. You want to do it. Just fucking do it. End it all. That's my...
Okay.
I mean, it's a depressing movie, sure.
It certainly is.
It puts you in a depressing state of mind, so you have these opinions on this movie. That's why it wasn't even horror. It was just like a psychological fuck.
Yeah, this movie's about grief.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily about ghosts. I mean, there are some ghosts in it, but it's very much like Hereditary in the sense that it's about grief and grieving, and how the fact that, when you are grieving over something, it never truly goes away. And this movie, I feel like, shows that even more so, like in a documentary sense or a mockumentary sense, whatever the fuck you want to call it, in a much more true sense than a movie from A24. Hereditary shows like people that continue on in a dramatic sense.
And this does this in
is just like
a whole different version.
These
but
people
it's
are
the
just
same
doing
movie.
their things.
Like, you nailed that perfectly. What a great fucking... Like, it's a different style, but it is...
Okay, thank you.
Hereditary. And I also... My effort, too, was to make this conversation as deep and as unnerving as possible before Kat rude opinion on this movie. So
I haven't
that was
said
my whole
a
thing.
word.
Because I know what she's going to say. She's going to
waiting
trash it.
for
But I
all
wanted
of
to make
you
her
to
feel
finish.
real bad.
Now
Because I was
that-
like, it's about grief.
Now that
death,
she has
people.
awoken, guys,
beast.
we have an unexpected guest in the last, however
Very
long of
crazy
this
with my
podcast
presence.
it lasts. We have Kat, who has arrived.
I've arrived.
She has a ribbon. Hello.
Hello.
How'd your night go?
Good
Good
evening.
evening. What's going on?
Not too much.
Okay. So I need your thoughts about 3 things. I need you to hit me with them succinctly and quickly.
They're all going to be the
I'm
same
I'm
thought,
very
though.
good at being succinct.
No,
and quick,
I know.
so-
All right. So
Okay, ready?
Suck.
Go.
ready? First thing, Last of Us episode 4. What'd you think? Quick.
Good.
That's as quick as you can.
Okay.
Not going to get quicker.
You said quick.
Not good,
I said
not goodest, good.
I know this is not going to get good.
Suck.
No, I liked it. I liked
No,
the way that
okay.
the
No, the
relationships
Catherine,
with the whatever,
your
blah, 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 blah.
thoughts
It was good.
on...
Yeah, yes, I liked
listen,
it. Good. Yes.
more than good or bad, your thoughts on Skinamarink. Talk to me about Skinamarink.
Sucked.
I fucking told you.
Ass
Nailed that.
sucked. It was awful. It was horrendous. I hated every minute of it.
I think I said ass suck too earlier.
You could've.
Like, I think my final last word, suck ass. Like,
Ass
yeah.
sucked. It was
Yeah,
horrible.
pretty close.
Suck ass. It was horrible. It
So
was,
everything
it
was
was awful.
of no redeeming quality
I
to
hate
you
it.
Perhaps
at all.
having watched this movie with Kat, that may have influenced my opinion.
what? Because we were feeding off each other
Yeah,
about
yeah,
how
didn't
much
like it
this
either.
movie
But we were
sucked.
both
Oh, you
watching
watched it
together.
together?
We
Oh,
watched.
okay.
Well, Mike was there
Yes.
and he fell asleep, but we were watching it together. And it was, this movie sucks. And Kat was like, yeah, this movie sucks. And I was like, fuck this movie. I was like,
Well,
Mike,
it was just
this
pictures.
movie sucks, Mike.
Most of it was
It's like-
pictures, and then it was very annoying. It was hard to watch. I hated it. Period.
Sounded like my
Quick,
synopsis. Good job.
Done.
Okay.
Succinct.
Now the more elongated. Talk to me about Lake Mungo.
Elongated.
I don't like the fictional found footage. I don't like them. I don't like them. No, this
Fictional
found
found
footage,
footage
whatever.
movies.
This is a made-up found footage movie. It's
Fake documentary,
Yes,
mockumentary.
Every found footage is made
No,
up.
this is like this one's like fake. It's all made up, and then like even
Well,
like
in
halfway
terms
through,
of like the kid making up this.
the whole story.
So
was
it's not
made
like
up.
it's not like Blair
real.
It's
like
like
it's not like a
the,
doc. I don't
Blair
know.
Witch Project.
I don't like it, and then I didn't like that. Like in the middle of it, he's like, I made up all this other stuff, and then I'm like, well, that's just ridiculous. And then I'm just watching more and more like bullshit, and I just got angry. I didn't.
But you know
really
why he
like
did it, though,
it's just,
right?
Yeah, I get why he did it, but I mean, I didn't like it. I didn't like the vibe.
It was too complex.
It was. I will give it to you all that it was with her, because that whole like in the background thing is very creepy. Very creepy. I will give that to everyone.
Very creepy.
Yes. It was creepy at different parts, different little jump scares, but
Okay.
That's fine.
that's
Fair
my,
point.
We all
2000's
don't have
way,
to
way
like
down.
everything.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure.
I mean, you're
You,
stupid.
you haven't liked.
We're 0 for 2.
You're
on
stupid.
found
You're
footage
so
weekend.
actually-
stupid for not liking. I think I have a fucking slam dunk for found footage February. So
To be fair, you haven't liked 2 of the 3s, and you haven't seen the third that
I'm
we've
curious.
covered this month.
I'm curious what her opinions were on last year's. What did we do last year? We
don't
did
remember.
Creep, Blair Witch. Did we do Blair Witch?
Creep, Blair Witch
I like
Project.
Blair Witch.
Did you like Creep? She doesn't even know if
I
she
don't
watched
remember. No, I don't remember, to be honest.
She certainly doesn't remember the movie.
She didn't
That's
like
for
it,
sure.
I don't think found footage February is for me. It's just not my style.
it. We definitely did a
It's
VHS.
just-
I mean, that's okay if it's not for you. That's
It's
fine.
just
Yeah, so you just don't like the genre.
yeah.
The genre.
I don't like
The
the
genre.
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 No, I don't. No.
I think I found one you'll like.
Okay.
We're gonna do it in next
No,
week.
the standard is high.
Instead of the.
If we'll see though. She's the deciding
Okay.
factor. You have to watch both though. So.
I
Oh,
also
2?
have to watch 2.
Yes, as do I. Oh,
Chad, if you
I
don't
have
watch,
to
if you don't watch both, you don't get a decision.
Fair.
So
We're
you
in
watch
the-
both,
we're
or
in
you
the
don't
same
have
She
to.
can watch The Conspiracy without me. For sure.
You should watch the other one better. You like the other one? Butterfly Kisses.
Butterfly kissing.
All right, guys. Now that Kat's here, is there anything else we want to say about Lake Mungo other than the fact that it's fucking scary as fuck?
Well, we gotta get into that.
Oh yeah, let's talk about the end. Andrew, Kat.
I mean, I like the ending.
The,
like when they
the cell
when they're
phone,
moving.
the discovered cell
Oh,
phone.
no,
is-
I think I meant like the end.
the
Discovered
ending's
cell
creepy, but the discovered cell phone is the.
I didn't realize you meant like the one true, like the scariest scene in the history of.
Yeah, I thought you were talking
That,
about
like
the
I thought you,
ending
yeah,
ending.
I thought you meant like the end.
Like when they take a picture of the house at the end, like somehow they zoom in enough. Like that's my only gripe with this movie is like you're going through an
Dude,
hour and a half of footage. Like,
every
as a
time
family,
I
and you're
watch
looking
that-
for stuff, I like half the time I'm like I don't even see it. Can you make it a little more visible?
Every time I watch that, I kind of cover my face because I'm like,
So-
am I gonna see something I didn't notice the fucking last time? And I'm
Right.
gonna jump out of my.
So that's what I do
so-
when I watch the movie. I'm like staring in corners looking for weird shit happening in the.
best movie for that. It's like The Haunting of Hill House, but for movies.
Well, because even they're like, here's the creep figure, but then let's pan over here, and there's another creepy figure in this other corner. The
Well, that's
neighbor
the thing,
next
too,
door.
because there's
and
nothing
you're
to be
like,
gained.
That's
by-
having sex with the daughter.
Most of what's going on,
That's
there's
what I
nothing
was
to be
saying
gained
was
by
like one of the
looking
most
directly
fucked
at
up
the
parts of the
scene.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even still, like the idea before, like you find out that the brother is superimposing these images is like you look that backyard one. That scared the shit out of me the
Really?
first time I watched
Yeah.
it because I was like, can you fucking imagine that your one of your family members has passed away and you fucking see them in the backyard and you know they're dead.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like that really was like, oh man, like that is fucking terrifying.
But
and
I
it's
mean,
like there's
it's all
nothing
fake.
sinister about
I
it, but
don't
it's
know.
still just
No,
so
I get it.
creepy.
But there's something about that genre where those type of things don't scare me because I
Well,
feel like I'm watching a
yeah,
documentary.
you find out that it's fake, but when the first time you're watching it,
You don't know that
I
it's
was
fake.
like,
You didn't know
what
it was
the
fake.
Mike told me it was
fuck?
fake.
Why did you tell her that? You ruined the movie?
She asked if it was a real documentary.
No,
It was
like, was she asking if the apparitions were real? Or was
I
she
said,
asking-
I was like,
No,
is this
no,
a
she was-
documentary? And he said,
Oh,
no, it's
well,
a mockumentary.
okay,
It's
well,
all
That's
fake.
all I said.
If
I was
anyone
like,
that reads
oh.
this, like, that's
But
what I
if
was saying.
I
If you
think-
put
Well, it's a
something in this
fictional
that's-
movie.
Right, but if I thought that it was real, I think it would be scarier.
Yeah, but who's going into a movie being like, I don't know if this is real or
Do you
fake?
understand if this was
What
a
kind
real
of a
thing?
fucking psychopath are you?
I mean, I think I want to think things are real.
It's someone that has, like,
so
no-
they're scarier.
There's a movie coming out. I'm not even going to read a line about it. I don't want to know anything. And like, how are you not getting inundated with what? Like, it's like So did you go to the Blair Witch Project and think that
Not
movie
in
was
theaters.
real? Did you think it was a real
Yeah,
movie?
of course I did. When I was a kid, of course I did.
When you were a kid, like how old?
When it came out. When did it come out?
99.
I was a kid. I was
12.
And so you just assume that they just put
I was like,
random video.
I was like 12, 13. How the fuck would I know?
Well, I mean,
at
that happened to a
point?
lot of people, I guess.
How
a lot
would
of people
I know
named
that?
Kat, but...
You knew when you were 13, 14 that was all fake?
Well, when I saw commercials on TV
like
for it, I
was
assumed it was a
real.
fake thing.
Whatever.
All right, you two.
What are we fucking talking about?
You actually came up with a good point of, contention here. So, what's a scary movie? Lake Mungo or Blair Witch Project? I think it's way scarier.
Well,
I think Blair Witch Project's way scarier.
Yeah, I think
Really?
I think Lake Mungo is
I think I
creepy.
have-
It necessarily didn't scare me.
Oh, that's how I feel about Blair Witch. I think
Wow.
Blair Witch Project is one of the most overrated movies of all time.
I do, but I still don't think Lake Mungo... Here's the other caveat to that statement, is that I also saw the scariest movie moment before I had seen the fucking movie, so it ruined it
That's
for
fair.
me. Ruined.
That's fair.
Ruined. Yeah,
Speaking
just
of the
ruined
scariest
for you.
movie moment,
Honestly, again,
I should have turned it off.
hazard
We shouldn't
included when
spoil
you're
that.
watching that
I know,
show.
I should have turned it off, but
Or
I'm
fast
watching
forward
the
it
show.
30
I don't want
seconds.
to turn it off. I want to watch it. 'Cause
Yeah,
I'm like, what if I don't-
let's not be hypocrites, and we won't
All
even
right,
say
that's
what's
fine,
on the
that's
cell
fine.
phone.
Actually, though, fair enough. I had seen the scariest movie moment for Pulse, and that movie still fucking scared me because that moment, different.
I don't
type
even
of
remember what it was. So once I get that, and I'm gonna be getting it hopefully in the next couple weeks.
It happens, but the thing with that, the scariest parts of that movie, I don't want to spoil it, happened very early on to me. So it's not like I'm spoiling the movie. It happens within the
but you
first
said
10
it's
minutes.
very heavy, so that means that
That
by
movie,
the end of the
to
movie,
me,
I'm
I
gonna
think
feel
that
something.
I think it's heavy. But then again, I'm. No, I know.
You are you.
I am me.
That's for sure. You are you.
You're a little
There is no
black
doubt that
rain
you
cloud.
are you.
I already said that earlier.
Gentlemen and lady, is there anything else that we want to talk about in regards to Lake Mungo before we sign off for the evening?
No.
Shudder. Go watch it.
Yeah, honestly, if you haven't seen this,
I don't know how you. I don't know how you wouldn't like me.
If you like found footage, like holy shit, how have you?
If you like documentaries,
well,
this is extremely well done. Not.
All right, ladies, gentlemen, listeners, guess what? If you're listening to this show, you can find us exactly where you're listening. The same place next week. But if you're looking for a new platform,
Cat was like egging.
you can find us on Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spreaker, and wherever else you may find your podcasts. My name is Mike. I've been joined by Andrew, Kat, and Matt. Guys, say goodbye to your... Good evening.
Goodbye.
Sayonara, motherfucker.
Adios.
Thanks for your contribution.
You're welcome.
Hey everyone, it's Mike from America's Hometown Horror, and just wanted to say thank you again for listening to another episode of our show, because of course, we would be nothing without you listeners. If you are interested in more local Plymouth podcasts, I would highly recommend you check out some shows by our cohorts on the Inebriart Podcast Network. That's right, the Inebriart Podcast Network, folks. In addition to America's Hometown Horror, you can find the Inebriart Podcast, Bar Talk, Theme Park Legends, Retro Redoctopus, and Old Colony Cast. Head on over and give them a listen.